All right. Hello, everybody. Today's date is July 22nd, 2022. This is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being conducted in Albany and New York City. This is also being live streamed on the authority's YouTube channel. Present today are Chairman Bradley in the Albany office, Commissioner Fan in the New York City office, and Commissioner Ford participating remotely via WebEx. Staff in attendance, uh, General Counsel Meyerhoff remotely via WebEx, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Donahue in the Albany office, and myself, Secretary Roper in the Albany office. We have two items on today's calendar. First is agenda number 01027E. It's a request for an emergency summary order of suspension from Counsel's office. The serial number is 2012106, the Sawmill Inc. Kayla, when you're ready.
Thank you. This is Kayla O'Donnell on behalf of Counsel's office. Good morning, members. Counsel's office is seeking an emergency summary order of suspension for the establishment known as the Sawmill in Schenectady. The license for a tavern bar was issued on or before 1997. The sole principal was Don Birch until Ella Smith was added as a principal as well in November of 2014. Don Birch passed away in January of 2017, but Ella has continued operating the bar. Since his passing in 2017, there's been a steady increase in the disorder and violence at this establishment. In 2018, the licensee was charged with disorderly premises and failure to supervise and submitted a CNC and mitigation letter, which represented the licensee was going to take these allegations seriously. They were going to make changes, including ensuring police are called for incidents with patrons and that just shuffling them outside would not be sufficient. The full board accepted their CNC plea offer. Despite these statements, the licensee has continued to do just that, kicking out all patrons and closing for the night whenever there's a fight inside. It was this exact conduct that led to a gun being fired in front of the bar on April 9th, 2022, after there were two large fights inside and everyone was kicked outside where the fights continued. This licensee denied hearing gunshots that night when police arrived, and the surveillance system never seems to be working. Since 2019, the SLA has received more than 24 complaints from inhabitants of the area regarding noise and disorder. Most recently, the SLA received a referral from the Schenectady Police Department indicating that on July 15th, they were called to the bar for a shooting. Once inside, they found a male with a gunshot wound to his leg. They were also notified by the hospital that a second victim had been brought in with a gunshot wound to her foot. Officers found a live round inside the bar and several shell casings on the deck and in front of the premises. On November 13th, 2021, when police responded for a shots fired call, a large crowd was observed leaving the bar. Ms. Smith told officers that she did not hear any gunshots because she was inside helping to break up a fight. The Schenectady Police Department submitted a letter indicating that the licensed establishment has been of increasing attention to the department, and per the attached premises history, police resources are required more than should be necessary in a properly run establishment, creating a financial burden from the extra resources required to address problems stemming from this location. They noted that this is a mixed residential business neighborhood and that the other similar businesses have no problem operating without the amount and type of calls emitting from this establishment. The premises history report confirmed that these statements and that there have been 80 documented police-oriented patrols at the establishment since 2019. It's worth noting that the only other business within walking distance that would be open late at night is a bar that enforcement confirmed has been closing at or before midnight since 2020, whereas these fights and shootings are occurring after midnight for the most part. The premises history also reflected that since 2019, there have been 52 police responses for noise or disorder, 14 of which were for violence. Most significantly, since October of 2020, police have been called to the licensed premises for shots fired 6 times, and the frequency has been increasing rapidly, with 5 of those being in the last 4 months alone. The licensee has been charged with being a disorderly premises, a sustained pattern of noise and disorder, a focal point for police attention, and for failure to supervise. It's time to say enough is enough before the next shooting at the premises ends with the loss of life. The licensee's failure to supervise and maintain control over the licensed premises and blatant disregard for the health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the area of the licensed premises requires an emergency summary suspension of this license. Thank you.
Do the members have any questions?
I just want to note, I noticed some of the hours for some of these incidents. The method of operation that's on file has the closing hours from Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 p.m.
That's on the license?
That's the method of operation that was submitted in 2012 with respect to an alteration application to add a backyard area.
Okay.
And nothing's changed since then regarding hours, Tom?
No, there were some other applications, a corporate change, when it was denied, when it was approved, but nothing with respect to the operation of the premises since then.
And those hours apply to the host space, not just the outside?
No, the application, the method of operation file talks about the hours of the business. It also indicates that they would have music, but only for special occasions.
Okay.
They're supposed to have
Kayla,
8 security guards and a hired manager.
Kayla, do we have, I know there's a lot of incidents of shots fired. Do we have victims in any of these?
The most recent, there was a male who was shot in the leg and a female who was shot in the foot.
And were those inside or outside?
Inside.
That was
Both
last
of them were
weekend.
inside?
That was last week, and that's what's precipitated this coming to you right now.
They also found a live round inside the bar, which the police department said is a bullet that wasn't fired, but that it shows that somebody was inside the premises with bullets.
And there's, you said they have surveillance video, but none of it ever works.
It never works.
Okay.
I mean, it looks like they're closing very, very late. Some of these calls are past 4 a.m.
I think Schenectady is a 4 a.m. county too, isn't it? Pretty sure it is. I know Albany is. The corporate change, was there corporate change done upon the licensee's passing in 2017, Kayla? Or Tom?
Yes.
Okay. And that was
There was-
approved?
It was Ms. Smith is now the president. The vice president is the estate of Mr. Birch.
Okay. All right. How many referrals from SPD actually made it to us?
We had requested referrals from them back in September based on the complaints that we were getting. Prior to that, I don't think we had gotten anything since 2018 or 2019.
So we reached out to them based on complaints that we were getting from neighbors?
Yeah, we were getting a lot of complaints.
Okay, all right. I don't have any more questions.
Members ready to vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Commissioner Fan,
Based on evidence presented by Counsel Kayla and also documents submitted into the record, it's clear that this licensed premise is presenting imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I'm voting to summary suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford,
Based on evidence presented by counsel, I find this place to be a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, especially to all the homes that it's surrounded by, all the residences. So I vote to summarily suspend this license as well.
and Chairman Bradley.
I'm going to vote to summarily suspend it. It's clear that the licensees become a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare.
Kayla.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla.
So next item on the agenda is number,
All right, let me just go get the licensee. I'll be right back.
okay.
All right, I will move so that they can see you.
Where do you want
You
to sit?
guys should sit here,
We'll sit here. Thank you.
and I will sit over there. Yeah, sit anywhere. Thank you. Oh, maybe it's better if I go there. All right, Donna, we're ready.
All right,
So let me
uh,
just introduce everybody. Hey, Donna, just give me 1 second. Donna is our secretary, Commissioner Ford, you see in that little window there. Tom Donahue is our head of licensing. Gary Meyerhoff is counsel to the agency. And then in the Albany office, it's Chairman Bradley.
Got it.
So this
Okay,
is, this
this
is
is
agenda number 1127D. It's a CNC offer of $50,000 from GLEN, COVE Hospitality LLC, serial number 1282740. So if,
Yes, and just for the record, this is a location that the board summarily suspended at its regular meeting last week, which I believe was July
July 1.
13th.
13.
Oh,
And they've offered a $50,000 conditional no contest to settle the charges underlying the suspension.
I believe commissioners or members, if you have any questions for the licensee, or if the licensee would like to say anything in mitigation.
Yeah, in your letter, gentlemen, first of all, thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you
Secondly,
for having us.
in your letter, it says that you met with local officials. How did that go?
Yes, so we meet with mayor and then
Yeah.
chief police and then the city attorney. So, we have a good meeting. So
Can I interrupt you, sir, just for a second? Can you please put your names on the record?
Okay, my name is Wei Wen. Yes, so,
And the
my
gentleman
name
next
is-
to you?
Thank you. My name is Michael Finkelstein. I am counsel to the mansion.
Thank you.
yes, so we have a good meeting with the mayor and then the chief police and then the general counsel in Glen Cove. I promised them, we're not going to do this kind of party anymore, the promoter, pool party. So, and then, so I think, at the end, we all agree on we have the same direction.
We met with the mayor. We met with the two chiefs of police, the lieutenant, counsel for the city, also people from the building department as well. And as Mr. Wang said, we made some representations to them about the types of events that will no longer be held at the mansion. We were all in agreement that since 1968, since this place has been opened and established, and since Mr. Wang has been running the place in the last 8 years, there's never been an incident like this. We don't expect there to be another one ever again. We're working very closely with the city and the police department to make sure that everything that they have requested and will continue to request in the future will be honored, including and most importantly, the community at large, what they're looking for, and we're here to respect their wishes, to make sure that, as I stated, something like this never happens again, but more importantly, going forward, that everybody in the community knows that this is a pillar of the community, an outstanding establishment, and it has been for many, many years, and will continue to be. We host not only events, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So we host not only weddings and other events, but just to give you an example, I believe it's next weekend, Glen Cove High School is having a 20-year reunion there. The mayor's had events there. This is an establishment that is well respected in the community, and unfortunately, an incident like this occurred, and we're hoping that will happen.
So here, and that's all great. But here's my issue, which really got to me when this came before us. This incident happened. Somebody got shot to the extent that literally the police had to get a helicopter out to try to quell the incident. They thought it was so serious that they had to call in the aviation unit. The whole thing gets, they take care of it and come down and the thing calms down. And then they get word that you're planning to have another party the next weekend before we shut you.
That's
So
absolutely.
am I wrong in saying that, Counsel?
Absolutely not the case.
Gary, is that the information we got?
That's what we were told by the police.
Just to be clear, you were told that the following weekend, which would have been the 19th, that we had another event planned like this? That's absolutely not the case. In fact, I can tell you definitively that this past weekend, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we had an Indian wedding there for all 3 days. That was the only event that was planned for that weekend. I'm sorry that you got some misinformation. That's absolutely not the case.
Well, then that was all. And if it's not the case, then it's not the case. But the other aspect of this that really also goes directly to your client's credibility is the fact that the town told him before this event occurred that he shouldn't be having it. And not only that, but they wouldn't permit it. And then he said, tough, I'm going to have it anyway. So how do I weigh what you're telling me now with what occurred here?
I understand the concern. It's obviously a very, very valid concern. I can tell you that there was, I'll use the word, a miscommunication between what we were requesting and what they were believed to have been allowing. I'm not going to say that everybody was on the same page at the same time. I'm not going to call anybody out on what happened. What happened, happened. I will tell you that going forward, we have, based upon my understanding, we have the full support of the city, the mayor, and the police department. They're aware of, the long-term relationship that Mr. Wang has always had with them. And we pledged to them, as we put in his acknowledgement, that something like this type of party will never be held here again.
When you met with them and indicated the types of events you would not be having in the future, I'm assuming this type of event was one of them. What else are we talking about?
It was really just this type of event. Their only concern was twofold. They don't want outdoor pool parties, and one of their major concerns, as I addressed earlier, was the decibel level of the music being played, and in addition, not only that, but also the content and context of the music. And we've made representations to them that all those things will be not only be taken care of, but more importantly, we just amended all our contracts to indicate that there will be severe penalties and fines and, immediate suspensions of any parties that do not concur with what we're putting in their contracts, i.e. the content mostly, and also the decibel levels.
Again, but putting it in a contract doesn't actually relieve you of your responsibility to the agency to run your establishment appropriately. I mean, you were told by, as Chairman said, like you were told by the agencies to not have this event. And there was a lawyer that was instructed to send an email and basically say, no, we're going forward regardless. So I'm not really sure how we can trust that now you're not gonna have these types of events, which is really not defined.
Well, I know the one thing that we can do, Commissioner, is we can make it so there's no drinking or music at the pool.
Yeah.
By doing that,
Nor any
I'm sorry.
relinquishment of control of the property to a promoter.
Well, that goes without saying.
and I agree with that statement, that goes without saying. However, to do that and take away one of the mansions, how can I put this? People come to not only the mansion to obviously have events, but they also stay there. It's also a hotel. People come to the hotel, they sit out by the pool, they have drinks, and there's food served. By taking away that, it was also taking away tremendous revenues from the mansion as well. Now, I understand that that's not a major concern of this board, but it's also one of the reasons why people come to the mansion, to get away, to relax, to sit out by a beautiful pool on 55 acres and possibly have a cocktail.
And then the wedding.
That's a far cry
Right.
from pool parties.
But I agree with that. And that's why we specifically stated, not only to the city, but also to this tribunal, that we are no longer gonna have these types of parties there. There will be no pool parties. And also, as Mr. Wang just stated, okay, during the cocktail hour, at the weddings, at the reunions, at other family events, life events, they do have cocktail hour at and around the pool, where drinks are and food is served.
But no one is swimming at that time. I assume.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think anybody was swimming at this party either. It was a pool party, meaning around the pool area.
Well,
I mean, I get that they're gonna get hurt, and I don't know that I'm more concerned about the public, to be honest with you. And as I said, this wasn't, in my mind, a party that no one could foresee what was gonna happen. The town clearly foresaw what was gonna happen here and told you no, and he ignored it. And for that, there has to be some level of repercussions. I don't know whether, and not permanent, but certainly temporary, because I don't know that he has any credibility. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, we had a party, it got out of hand, we didn't know it was going to be like this. But he was told directly that you can't have this. So the town saw that there could be problems, and he didn't care.
Here's the problem, and I hate to do this because it's not my style, but unfortunately, when things get blown out of proportion in the media, things sometimes get misunderstood.
Whoa. Let's not go to blown out of the proportion. Somebody got shot in the back.
No, well, that's not true. Nobody got shot in the back.
in the security guard.
The security got shot in the elbow.
Okay.
Okay? No, the documents say that it's irrelevant. The fact that he got shot in the back, was shot in the elbow, he got shot. That's most important. But here's the bottom line with this. Okay? The reason why they didn't want him to have the party the following week had nothing to do with, and I'm going to use the word the element. It had to do with the neighbors, 4th of July, and the decibel levels of the music being played and the content of the music being played. That's why they didn't want him to have the party. It had nothing to do with the fact that I hate to use the word again, the element that came there the week before was the element that was coming back the following week. That's why they didn't want him to have the party. It had nothing to do with the people that were there. It had more to do with the decibel levels of the music and the content and context of the music that was being played. That's what the problem.
And what we're saying here is that you can sit here and make promises, or your client can make promises to us, and I'm not buying the promises, but we can fix that ourselves. And then I don't have to worry about him, and then we're all going forward. I don't have to worry about what happens at the pool, because nothing can happen at the pool.
I understand what you're saying, but I just want this board to keep in mind, this is the very first incident, and I understand the severity, and I'm not lessening that fact. This is the very first incident that's ever happened at this establishment.
The first shooting or the first time a party got out of hand?
The first time that we've ever had a problem with the SLA.
Well, that's a function of the police deciding that they weren't going to refer it to us. They still, kind of, I guess, naively thought that if they told their Department of Buildings what was going on and a permit was denied, that would solve the problem. So that's what they did instead of contacting us based on the prior issues. And the response they received from the property was, you're telling us too late. We're going forward with the party anyway. So, it's very different.
What you're saying, but what I'm saying is that the reasons for their issues with the mansion had nothing to do with the people who were there, the type of party that was being thrown. It had to be with the decibel levels of the music and the content and context of the music. Spoken directly to the mayor about that.
You're dancing
but
on
that doesn't matter. I don't even understand why that's relevant when somebody got shot. When somebody got shot, why does it matter why they didn't want it to go forward?
Well, that was your question. You said that they didn't want it to go forward, and I'm telling you why they didn't want it to go forward.
But I don't care. They still said it shouldn't go forward because they saw there was a level of a potential problem. The problem, whatever, maybe they didn't see a shooting, but the shooting actually happened.
Look,
so
I understand what you're saying, and I understand your concern.
If I say, it's Mr. Finkelstein, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, if I may. We see problem establishments all the time. And when an operator isn't supervising a place and it becomes noisy and rowdy, violence is not that far out of the realm of possibility when that happens. There's a level of supervision that's required to run a place well. And your client abandoned supervision completely to a promoter. He turned the keys over to somebody else. That's what his general manager told the police the day the event happened. He said, if you got a problem with security or why people weren't going through metal detectors if they were VIPs, go talk to our promoter. They were the ones in charge. That's the problem.
And I think, Mr. Mayor Hoff, you're getting misinformation again.
Why weren't you there that day?
He was.
I was.
You were there.
He was there.
And then
We have surveillance.
The police wrote a report. The police wrote a report and made that up.
We have surveillance video that indicate that he was in the hotel.
Well, either way, the police were informed by somebody who was held out as the general manager of the property that if they had any issues with security, they should talk to the promoter who was responsible for that.
Okay.
Are you saying that was fabricated? What was in that police report?
I can't speak as to what somebody else said. I've seen the reports. I've also, like I said, we spoke to the chief of police at the meeting. We spoke to the mayor. We've addressed all these issues. And I can tell you that Mr. Wang was on premises.
Did he speak to the police when he was on premises?
No.
No. So
Why not?
Wait.
There was just a shooting there.
There's a shooting at your hotel. The police come out with guns a-blazing, and you don't have any conversation with any of them?
Okay, so because that day nobody find me, I'm in the office. And then, obviously I know there's a investigation, I just don't know, why, nobody else contact me.
Nobody came and looked for you?
No.
He was on premises.
Well, so when did you leave? When did you leave the office?
Yes.
When did you leave the office?
No, I stay in the hotel.
Where were you in the hotel?
I stay in the hotel 24 hours almost every day. You know?
No,
You live
where
in the
were you?
hotel?
I live in the hotel.
All right, where were you when when the police showed up after the shooting? Where were you in the hotel?
The first, I was in my room, and then later on, I was in the office.
And you talked to nobody about this shooting
No,
on that
because-
day?
Because at that moment, the reporter is already coming, so I'm not there. So because I don't know, the detail. I'm not, when the incident happened, I'm not there. So I don't want to talk to any reporter, talking
So
about.
you're there or you're not there?
I'm there.
You're there during the shooting,
Yes, in the property.
okay? But didn't you want to talk to the police? I mean, this is not about whether the reporter was there or not. Don't you think you have the responsibility to go talk to the police and establish what is actually
So,
going on?
at that moment, so my food and beverage, Metro D was there, and he's, in the front, so.
That's Mihai Buku.
Yes, so that's why I'm not going down because he was at the front desk during the incident happened. So I say okay, so we have the people, and then my assistant also go down to help the police to get the video.
Yeah, but you're the licensee. This
Yes.
is your establishment.
But they already blocked the whole hallway.
So they were stopping you from going to talk to the police?
No. So so I'm staying in the office because they already blocked the full entrance. So there's nobody else really want to go to the front.
Who else runs this place with you? Do you have any partners?
No, it's me. So yeah, pretty much and then my wife help me with something else, but mostly it's me.
In the meeting you had with your lawyer with the police, have you ever sat down with them and described what happened? Or have they asked you
Yes.
to?
Not that day, but obviously.
The answer is no. They've never asked him specifically what happened that day because they knew he wasn't there at where the scene occurred.
But you're trying to tell us that he was there because he
No.
actually lives there.
No, listen, I'm sorry. Just so everybody's clear. He was absolutely on the premises. He was there the entire time. I'll
Okay.
say it again, okay? He wasn't at the incident in the lobby when it occurred. As far as them asking him any questions about what occurred, he wasn't there. He couldn't speak to it. However, what we did was we cooperated completely with the police department and turned over all the video surveillance that we had, which obviously led to the arrest yesterday.
Oh my God.
Someone was
And
arrested
you've had this.
yesterday.
Yes,
Sorry, go
somebody
ahead,
was
Commissioner
arrested
Ford.
yesterday. Mr. Ford, yes, somebody was arrested yesterday. He's being arraigned this morning. A gentleman by the name of Remy Marshall. He's known in the industry. He was not allowed into the premises as he was being escorted off the premises with those persons he showed up with. The incident occurred. He never got into the party. The security did exactly what they were supposed to do. When they realized that there was a potential for an incident, they tried to escort him off the premises. This whole thing happened in the lobby of the hotel, not outside by the pool. Which I think also was a misconception about what happened here. These gentlemen never entered into the party. They weren't allowed to enter the party. Security immediately did what they were supposed to do, and they tried to escort them off the premises. And unfortunately, this incident occurred.
All right, well, I don't know whether he's aware of this or not, or if you're aware of it or not, but his method of operation that he filed with us states that he's not going to do any other business of any kind at the premises, which means obviously no parties like with a promoter. And he's also not allowed to have security guards. And he apparently had 16 that day. I realize he didn't bring him because based on, and maybe the evidence is wrong, but it sounds like the promoter brought him.
That is a true statement. The promoter bought security.
And he's also not allowed to have DJs, which I'm sure he does have. I'm sure this was not the first time he had a DJ.
That was, by the way, I had a conversation with Mr. Amirati yesterday, because this was the first time that anybody was made aware of the fact. Because I'm sure, as you're all aware, that certain aspects of the use of this premises for weddings, as a perfect example, has live music.
I'm just telling you what the licensee asked for when he got his license. And part of that was he is allowed to have live music. He apparently is allowed to have recorded music and karaoke.
Then I'm mistaken, and I apologize. I thought it said
DJs.
I thought it said no live music. I thought it just said recorded music.
No, you can have live, recorded, and karaoke, but no DJs.
Okay.
But it doesn't.
It is an odd method of operation.
What were the boundaries of my license? Then
Understood.
Then it makes it even harder to trust that anything right is going to happen from here on. Like, I mean, if you don't know what your license entails, we
understand what everybody's concern is here. And the only thing that we can do.
I mean, it's a huge concern that there's a shooting and he's on the property and not going out to talk to the police or anybody because I'm worried about the press or that makes no sense. I mean, we certainly do not license people for that to happen.
Right. And we understand that, and Mr. Wang understands that as well, and that's why he's here, and he can speak to that as best as he can. When the incident occurred.
Another question I have is, obviously he is licensed and has liquor inventory there. Why? So was the deal the promoter brings their own liquor with them?
Absolutely not.
So the police report indicating that the promoter was throwing boxes of alcohol in their cars and running with bottles of liquor is not true?
I don't know where they got they were taking the liquor from, but I can tell you that
the pool,
the mansion only buys from those.
Well, I'd rather talk to your client. Did the promoter bring the liquor with him?
No. So, we serve the bottle. So, so when they pay, so we push the bottle out. So, but, when this happened, so at that moment, is everybody just wrong? We want everybody to just go. So, during that time, we really don't know, what's happening, So we just say, everybody go because this happened. So the party is over. So we say, stop, everything go.
I get that, but why were they taking the alcohol with them?
Boxes of
No,
alcohol.
they don't. No, I think, is the bus boy moving the liquor, and then we asked them to bring it back. We didn't ask them to go, No, there's no way,
The first thing is that all liquor being served was in accordance with the SLA. The second thing is that I can't speak to it because I wasn't there. I don't know about the liquor being removed in boxes. I read the report as well. But I can tell you that nobody brought their own liquor there and was taking it with them.
How many of these parties did he have before this where he rented it out to a promoter? This year?
This year. 2.
And in your agreement, does it say that they have to bring their own security?
Yeah, I say, we need to make sure the party is safe.
So you have written contract with people asking them to bring their own security to your licensed premise?
I don't know about a written contract, but some of these celebrities bring their own security anyway. There was some.
I just wanted to know, before this event, does he know that there was going to be 16 security guards standing in front of his hotel?
That's a fair question.
But when we when we do the event, like.
It's a
Father's
yes
Day-
or no question.
Yeah, so,
So you did know,
Yeah, we.
but
we
your
told them-
license is not allowed to have security guards.
And I'm going to say immediately. Not, and not for the, obviously.
The point about not having security guards, if there's any misunderstanding on your end, is it's so that you don't have parties like this. And then the state liquor authority doesn't have to worry about it, and the police don't have to worry about it. That's not the type of venue you got licensed. That's probably why your license says you don't have DJs. Someone who applied with your client did so to send the message to the people who were going to license the place, they don't have to worry about this. This is a high-end place. This kind of stuff isn't going to happen. It's not going to be a DJ nightclub kind of thing. And yet that's what we ended up with. And your client was unaware, either knew that he wasn't allowed and entered into a contract that brought that type of event here, or was clueless as to what the requirements were. Neither is
16 security guards is a big red flag to me, that an event would need that many security guards.
All right.
Members ready
Anybody
to
else
vote?
have any more questions?
No, I'm good.
All right, so on the CNC offer, Commissioner Fan.
I'll accept the 50,000, but I'm gonna let Chairman decide on the boundaries of events moving forward, because I think telling us that this type of event or events like July 10, 2022 doesn't really cut it. It's not clear enough at all what the boundaries are moving forward, so. But I'll vote to accept 50,000.
Commissioner Ford.
I'm gonna counter offer at 75,000 because, and I'll let the chairman throw any conditions on past that if he so desires, but I just don't think you guys are being honest with us.
Well, I'm
Chairman
sorry,
Bradley.
Mr. Ford, you don't think that we're being honest with you.
It just,
And,
you conflict with too much information that we have. And if you had met with the police and everything like that, I would have also thought you might have brought something indicative of the results of that meeting for us to not just have to take your word for it. So I'm done.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll accept the 50,000. There's no only recorded music outside at the pool going forward. Obviously, no security guards and no DJs are still in place. And the police department, the local police department needs to get a list monthly of your planned events, at least for the next year. I'm gonna say that the only reason that this is happening today, and the only reason that it's happening at all, really, in my mind, and I think the other commissioners would agree with me, is because a number of angry brides have reached out to us whose weddings would be destroyed by your behavior if we were to keep this place shut permanently. So you can thank them, because I probably would not have kept you open. But I am certainly not interested in getting the wrath of a number of pending marriages.
So technically, that's a CNC denied counteroffer with the $50,000 recorded music only outside at the pool, and the list of planned events to police for next year. Is that correct?
Every month for the next year.
Every month.
Meaning that they at the beginning of the month, they're to supply the police department with a list of the pending events for the next month.
And here's one more thing. I had that in the back of my mind too, Chairman, about the events, birthday parties, brides, weddings, things like that. nothing scarier than an angry bride. And so to that end, I would allow them to have DJs because I'm sure not every wedding has a live band. Some of them probably do have DJs. I would think in that respect, in that environment, I would think that would be okay. That's not that's not a outdoor pool party. That's a private event.
Inside.
Inside, yes, yes. I would allow you that.
I'm fine with that.
Commissioner Fan, are you okay with the?
Yes, that's fine, but I just want to make it clear that you still need to go to the Department of Buildings for whatever permit that you may need and other local, permitting that process that you're supposed to follow. Like, this does not waive any of that.
We understand that, and we're also going to revisit, as everybody has stated here, the actual permitted uses here to make sure that we're in complete compliance.
Yeah, you can email our secretary, he'll send you a clear list of what you applied for and what you have on the books.
And one other thing, I know that there was a signage issue on the premises, and I was specifically told to ask today, how do we obtain the signages and so we can get them properly posted so there's no misunderstandings pertaining to pregnancy and also underage drinking?
Someone, Stefan, is he still there? Is Stefan still there?
Yeah,
I'm here. Do we have those? We have those signs in the office right there, I believe. You can ask one of the enforcement guys. If not, we can have them sent to you.
Thank you very much.
Well, just procedurally, because the board has added conditions to your offer, which you've just heard, you have to formally accept that as a counteroffer. Ordinarily, we would do that by sending the counteroffer in writing, having you send a response back in writing. But having heard those additional conditions on your offer, are you willing to accept them on the record?
Yes.
This will allow you to get your license back so that you can have the weddings that were previously planned.
You'll also need to make payment before you can get your license back.
Right.
In the form that
The
the secretary
$50,000
accepts. Yes.
New York State Liquor Authority will be overnighted to Albany, is my understanding today, for Monday delivery. And that was, I was told that was the procedure. It's got to go up to Albany.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming in, gentlemen. Have a good
very
weekend.
much. Thank you. Mr. Benson,
All right, so
one
I
question.
have nothing else on the agenda.
For Monday.
Cameron, do you have anything?
License get
No,
reinstated.
thank you for putting this all together, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Donald.
Tom?
Yes?
So they want to know that once they could turn in the check on Monday, how quickly can they get the license? Can they come to this office to get it, or do they have to?
That's up to counsel's office and enforcement. We don't have the license. Either counsel's office or enforcement has it.
Gary?
But we will, however, actually,
I don't have it.
we will, well,